You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lane. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lane, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And really, this is the month when planting season is in full swing. You should be thinking you can start trees and shrubs. I mean, this is the time to plant lilacs. This is the time to put a spruce or a pine tree in, and it takes advantage of all the weather we had. We had a midweek little storm, but moisture. This is setting up the stage for a really good wildflower season. So they love this every couple of weeks, a little bit of moisture coming through. Oh, wildflowers are set up perfectly. Last year we had nothing but, I don't know if you remember, when was that? Last year was just rainy and snowy through May, really. It wasn't ideal. This is much warmer. In between the storms, it's much warmer, brighter, sunnier. And so this is what really sets the stage for a beautiful wildflower season, beautiful, showy, blooming shrubs like Forsythia, lilacs, quince, your trees like redbuds, crabapples, service berries. They love this. And so it's good. You can put new plants in now. Things to watch for. So where rookies get confused, they're thinking just summer plants. They just remember planting with their grandmother and all they did was tomatoes and they did them in the summer. Well, this is not summer. This is still wintry, very early spring. And so you need plants that can take warm days, cold nights, a storm system every once in a while, frosty. There's plants that love that. Pansies are a great example. So we got a beautiful crop of pansies coming in. This is a beautiful, it's a flower. Pansies, you gardeners know, I'm sorry, I'm not putting you down, but for novices, maybe tuning in, just going, I just want to learn a little more. Pansies are a very early spring flower. It's got a flower about the size of a silver dollar. It's got a monkey face in the front of it, very fragrant to it. But these plants love this time of year. They don't thrive in summer. In fact, they poop out. Many times they just collapse going, I can't take the heat. It's too much. And so they just they fall. And that's when you put your petunias, your geraniums, your zinnias, cosmos. They love the heat, but not pansies, not violas, not snapdragons. These are all plants that are planted now for enjoyment through spring. In fact, I put mine in secret alert. Here's the insider tip. It's so mild up here that if you plant your pansies in the winter, late, like autumn, so September, October, they literally will bloom right through winter and then keep going through spring. And then finally in June, they kind of go, just too much. I can't keep doing this. And they fade. So timing, it's every time you move into a new or learn gardening to a new place, a lot of this has to do with what's the calendar? When do you do things? When am I working with the environment instead of against the environment? And so if you work against Mother Nature, you're going to have problems. And so you're not going to win. She's going to win for sure. But if you work with it, boy, it does you a great big favor. And that's what gardening is learning those sequences. And so what we're finding now, it is very much time. If you're working with the environment, this will be new. This is unique to the mountains, higher elevation gardening. You're pruning your roses later than usual, later than you would in California, later than you would in Phoenix or Tucson or Palm Springs or anywhere else. Here you prune them back, even in the Midwest. In the Midwest, you prune back your roses in like autumn. You put some field fence around it, and you put a whole bunch of dead leaves on top of that just to insulate your roses. So you're cutting them back real hard just so they're smaller so you can insulate them easier. In Phoenix, in the desert, so the warmer zone, there you're cutting them back in like November, December, because they're going to start growing in January. I mean, it's just the season is so soon. Here, roses are not going to start growing until March. And so March is our best time to prune roses. You'll be tempted to do it earlier, but our thinking is you keep all that structure of the rose up intact, or protecting, insulating the core or the heart of that rose cane where the grafts are. And so we're so mild that just by pruning it a little later, keeping the structure of those canes up, protecting that heart of the plant, that is enough to keep the plant alive. So we don't insulate them like you would in the Midwest. Of course, we don't get down to, what are you folks are crazy, minus 20 degrees. You got to be nuts. No one lives there. I guess they do, but they keep coming down to here. And so because it's so mild, here we might get down into maybe single digits. In fact, I just looked at my algorithm. I've got a smart weather system. It tells me how much rain. We had 2.08 inches at our house in our yard in February. The lowest temperature recorded 17. The highest was 64. I mean, come on, that's February. And so that's normal for us. We just don't see that sub-zero stuff that stays down there. So we wait to prune our roses until March. We cut them back. If you look at them closely, they're already starting to grow. So in fact, some of you at the little bit lower elevations, that east facing, Jerome, Camp Verde, you folks, you probably already have your roses growing. They probably popped 10 days ago. And so over here on this side of the hill where it's a little more shaded, a little bit colder, maybe a couple of feet higher, but same zone, they're starting to grow too. It's okay to prune roses while they're growing. In fact, they prefer that. And so you get your best flowers on new canes on roses. If you have old, crusty, barky, the older canes on a rose, they look like a tree trunk, only with thorns on them that look like they want to rip your skin off. That's not good. They'll have smaller and less flowers. So if you have vibrant new canes, green new canes, that's where your biggest. If you're going to enter a flower into the fair for the fragrance, you're going to encourage it to grow a flower and enter that flower on new growth because it'll be bigger, better, fragrant. And trust me, prune in March. Here in the central highlands, the central part of Arizona, you'll have a better rose. You'll have an easier life, and you're not working against nature. You'll be working with nature. The other one to mention too, I've had quite a few folks mention hedges, from red tip photinias to euonymus to what else? Cotoneasters, junipers, all these hedgerows. Now is your time. So you could prune them back earlier, and they wouldn't care. But you would. So many of these big hedges, once you cut them back, they have these big old barky stems to them. So they look butchered. You got to prune them back hard. Butterfly bush, you got to prune that thing back hard to get it to regrow again. So they're about to start growing. So personally, I like to prune back my hedges right before they're about to grow so that I don't have to look out that living room window and look at this butchered hedge from January, February, March. I'm going to leave it like that through February and January and February. And I'll cut it back in March, fertilize it. So my pruned back hedgerow looks, once it pushes new growth, it looks good. So I'm trying to shrink that time between when I pruned it and when it's starting to grow. I just shrink that down. And March is your ideal time. If you make a mistake on any pruning, you can fertilize your way out of any mistake with pruning. I mean, to just chuck a few handfuls of the 744 all-purpose plant food down at the base of that plant, and it will pick that up, grow its way out. So if you're not quite sure where to, even on fruit trees, shade trees, if you're not quite sure, fertilize afterwards. And it will, if you're going to make a mistake, it'll be you didn't prune back hard enough. It's better to prune back hard and then fertilize and grow your way out of it. You'll have better plants for that. Bigger roots for less foliage mass, you get better growth. The book says you can prune back 30% of the foliage mass now. That's substantial. So anything more than that, maybe it's a little bit too aggressive. You take a couple seasons on it, but that's how you prune. You prune roses and hedges in March for best health. Got more for you. Be right back after this. And we are back with Lisa Watters-Lain. She comes each week with your garden questions. Just what are people talking about? Facebook, Instagram, newsletter, just kind of from all over the place, huh? Mm-hmm. What kind of questions we got this week?
So yeah, good spring questions this week. So Ted has questions about our weed and grass preventer. He wants to know, can it be used under trees and in tree wells to keep the grasses out? Wants to know if it can be used on pavers to keep those little weeds that come up between pavers. And the last part of the question is, how often does it have to be applied?
Yeah, so good question. So now's the time. Actually, 3 weeks ago was the best time. So already dandelions are up, but get it on before, rather later, rather than not at all. So, okay. Weed and grass stopper is a granular product. You sprinkle it throughout the yard like you would a fertilizer, only it doesn't work. It's not a fertilizer. It actually keeps the seed from germinating and sending a taproot down and keeps that from getting down into your soil. So it's a weed preventer. It'll take out little tiny things that have just come up. So just starting to sprout to take out those. But if it's a big dandelion, not going to affect them at all. So that being said, it's not going to affect your tree. It's not going to affect your roses. It's not going to put it around your lilacs. It's not going to affect them. Things that are already up, not going to affect them. Only the seed that might come out, which is ideal for things like locusts or elm trees that throw off leaves, seeds, tumbleweeds, horehound, a goat head, all these things that are nasty weeds. These are all annuals that come back by seed. So you put it down there. So, okay, can you put it underneath your trees? Yes. Encouraged. Do that. It'll make your trees happier because it won't have weeds growing up there sucking up all their nutrients and water. So all that's remaining is just their needs. You can put it through the rock lawn. You won't have weeds coming up, popping up through. I know you put fabric down, but there's silt and just dust that gathers between the fabric, the weed fabric, and the rock. So you still get some seeds. It will keep those seeds from germinating coming up. Over a patio. Okay, I probably wouldn't do that one. I don't know if it stains. So I just don't know. If you were to do it, I would test it. Would it work? Yes. What's it going to do to the weeds? Keep them from coming up. Will it put a little dot or stain on your paver? Do a testing. Like the paint samples, they always say, or cleaners, always test us underneath where no one can see first before you commit all the way. I would make that same kind of disclaimer. I'd say there's probably better ways to do that. Come and talk to us. We can help you. And then how often? Mm-hmm. So I'd say twice a year. Once now for your winter weeds, and then do it again, Ted, right before the monsoons. So hit it the end of June, first part of July. So because that's when all those summer heat-loving weeds start coming in. The wind, those storms start, the monsoons are blowing winds, tumbleweeds start leaping across fence lines. It'll keep them from coming up in your yard. So twice a year. And then as you use it consistently, it gets better and better and better. Literally it eliminates 95% of all the weeding you'll do. It'll eliminate all that work. I was helping a customer yesterday and going, yeah, our landscaper our maintenance guy got a little expensive. We thought we can do this ourselves. Help me. Well, this is really easy. Thing is about watering weeds, keep those two things down. That's mainly what they do, is adjust the clock and keep weeds down. And then they were worried about pruning roses, doing that. Your timing's right. They were gardeners. They knew what to do. And then they sprayed some horticultural oil to keep the bugs away. So you got this. It didn't cost that much. And so the main thing was weed and grass stopper. They use horticultural oil to get rid of all the aphids and stuff that might be there because they just finished pruning their roses. And then they're fertilizing things. You just did 90% of what landscapers and mow and blow guys do coming in. So you can do this.
Yep. Well, that leads us into our next question, actually, from Deborah. She wants to know on the horticultural oil, she got some to spray, but she noticed her peach tree is already blooming.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Should she wait until that peach tree is done blooming before she sprays, or just go ahead and spray?
Go ahead and spray. Oils. So there's two kinds of oils. There's horticultural oil or dormant oil. Those are heavier oils. If you read the label, so we don't sell the dormant oil anymore because the time frame up to a certain level of heat and then it starts to burn. So she's thinking of that. So that oil is so heavy it bakes the plant and the bugs. Horticultural oil is a little bit finer. It's refined, thinner. So you can spray that up to, I believe it's 80 or 85 degrees. It's quite warm. Like we're not going to see that until May. And so you never have to worry about that in the mountains if you're spraying horticultural oil. So I'd say go for it. It can only help you. It cannot hurt the peaches. And while you're at it, spray the apples for the codling moth. Spray the plums for this what do they call it? Skeletonizers. Spray your grapes for the skeletonizers. Hit them all. While you got it powered up, just hit the whole yard. Clean the whole yard up. It will get rid of all the eggs. And there are bugs sitting there in the yard. They've been there all winter hibernating. They're waiting to come out. And so if you hit them, it will get rid of them and their eggs. So at least you start nice and clean. Bugs are winged. They can come in after you. But at least you're starting, you're starting at a baseline that's clean. It's good. Go for it.
And there's no issue with pollinating then?
No, the oils don't affect pollinating. I'd say if you can, try not to spray the bees because it can affect them. But that's just a morning. Bees are daytime creatures. Just spray dusk or dawn or something when they're not around and you'll be fine. So pollinators, no, you're not going to won't affect it at one bit. Nope.
Okay. All right. Next question is from Tony. He's looking for suggestions for a hedge plant that gets 5 to 6 foot tall. He wants easy care and evergreen.
Ooh, Tony, good question. Help me with this. He put a lot of parameters. Evergreen. Sorry, he didn't say glows in the dark.
And blooms.
So blooms, yeah. So 5 feet. That's what gets us. So we want it shorter. So you can hedge it down to 5. But we don't want to. That instantly gets rid of red tip photinia, red clusterberry. These ginormous.
Well, he says 5 to 6 feet. Okay. But yeah, he didn't say about pruning. But
10,
good point.
15-foot plant. He's going to be pruning every month to keep it down.
Good point. Good point.
There's better choices. I would say number 1, euonymus. There's a couple varieties. There's a gold, a silver, and a green that you can use. Just solid green, evergreen. Good. I mean, takes our sun, our wind, does all the stuff that you want. It's probably the number 1. I guess boxwood's number 1, but that's a little bit too short.
Depends on the boxwood.
Number 2. Well, it's true. So euonymus, though, that's a good choice. One you should also look at is Nandina. Now, you don't think of that as a hedge plant, or you Californians call it heavenly bamboo. It's not a true bamboo, so it's not going to get 10, 15 foot tall. It's not going to run and lift walls and come inside, eat dinner with you. It's going to stay refined. But there's a couple varieties. I think it's Sienna Sunrise and Domestica. Those 2 varieties get chest high to head high. Nice evergreen. In fact, they've got red in the winter, green in the growing. They've got a lot of dynamic to them. And so that would be good. It gets a white flower to it. It's super easy to maintain. So you might, I doubt it, but maybe would have to prune it back in the winter. But probably it takes no real care. What else you want?
Elaeagnus, too tall?
Elaeagnus. You could easily keep. That's a native. If you want to go solid native, so silverberry. It's another one. We've got 2 varieties here. The true native one, it's got green leaves and silver foliage on the backside. And then we've got the gold one. They're cousins. So you have blonde a brunette. Pick the one you like, and then they'll hedge down. They'll grow naturally just above head high. You could easily keep them down to that 5-foot level. And once they're up to size, you don't have to water them, don't have to care for them. They're just evergreen all by themselves because they're truly, and animals don't eat that. So javelina and deer and rabbits, they're fine. Well, that is out of time. Sorry, Lisa. I know you got another question, but duty calls. Got to pay for a few bills. Be right back right after this.
Cocktail trees turn any backyard into a veritable farmer's market.
At Watters, we've grafted onto one tree different types of cherries, apples, and pears for easy backyard fruit picking.
These small fruit trees grow in containers just off the patio in smaller yards. Anyone can grow a fruit cocktail tree.
You'll find braided cocktail trees with multiple fruits beautifully braided into one tree.
Fruit cocktail trees are ready to plant at Watters Garden Center in Prescott and wattersgardencenter.com.
So each month, the team here at Watters Garden Center, we're professional horticulturalists. We look at which plants look their best each month. So March, which plants go together and shine in March, and then April, then in May and June. Every month we rotate through. Thought I'd share this month's collection of companion plants we planted now that like to thrive in the same gardens. We try to pick a tree, a shrub, a perennial, an annual. We try to get the whole layered stuff together, but Fanciful Forsythia, it's heavily budded right now. In fact, I'll bet it's starting to bloom already on those east exposure like Jerome, Cottonwood, Camp Birch, Sedona. You're probably already in bloom here. They are cracking and starting to bloom here in this other side of the hill in Yavapai counties. And so Forsythia is a great plant for the mountains of Arizona. Now, most of your perennials, that is perennial shrubs, this is like companion with Forsythia, are lilacs and quince, and there's all these early spring bloomers. But Forsythia sets the stage. It blooms first. And the way you can tell it, if you're driving through a neighborhood and this shrub about head high, if you just never prune them and they're ancient, maybe they get 10, 12 feet tall. But really, they're usually kept down to that chest to head high level. Like you prune them when they're done blooming, you just keep them smaller, daintier. They're covered in like lemon yellow flowers. It's like crazy yellow. There's no foliage, all yellow flowers. It's so wild. It's like glowing, and it's just like you turn a light switch on and it's sitting there glowing in the landscape. That's Forsythia. It'll bloom like that for about a month and a half, and then it starts to leaf after that. When it gets done blooming, it'll drop that foliage. As it leaves out, it pushes off the flowers and the foliage takes over, and it's this very handsome, thick, like hunter green shrub. The beauty is you get the spring blooms, get the nice green in summer, you get the beautiful like an aspen gold fall color, but animals, they don't bother Forsythia. It's one of the, if your neighbors are feeding the deer, there's very few plants you can actually grow in your neighborhood because they're just brought in. So you took all the choice and went down to, here's your 10 choices. Forsythia would be at the top of the list. It's a great plant for your, loves full sun, takes our wind. It's got all the things you kind of want. It takes our crummy soil and doesn't take a lot of care. That's a great plant, very deep rooted, very strong. A companion with that is a step down, the perennial that goes with that. It's also in bloom right now. It's called mountain heath. Heaths and heathers, they're kind of an alpine plant. So they're high altitude. So they love bright days, cold nights. They just love that. Heath has got this real ferny evergreen foliage. It's evergreen, but it's not a leaf. It's not a needle. It's something in between, but it's very soft. But right now it is in glorious color. I think there's 3 colors, like pink, white, and apple blossom. They're just covered. There's so many flowers. It's got a bell-shaped flower, much like a manzanita has. Only manzanita has a few dozen flowers. This has hundreds. So many, you can't see the foliage. That's why it's so beautiful. Grows in containers, grows in the sun, grows in the shade, gets up about knee-high, and then spreads out about maybe twice that wide. Nice mounding evergreen plant. And I have personal experience. The elk did not eat heath Had it right there in full sun out in Skull Valley. That's at 4,200 foot level. So I know it'd do well over in Camp Verde and Sedona, Cottonwood, Cornville. I know it'd do well in Kirkland, Hillside. It just would do well. Of course, it does well in Prescott Valley, Prescott, Dewey, this area. Really likes growing here, and they bloom about the time. Actually, the heath will bloom before the Forsythia. Then it's Forsythia. And then the next one that goes with that is redbuds. Redbud is the tree that we picked for the month of March. So redbuds have a heart-shaped leaf. It's about the size. Just make a heart with your hand, and that's the size of the leaf. It's a native. So there's a western redbud that grows wild here. You'll just see them out in the forest. A pink blooming flower. Well, it's such a hardy, strong plant that is easy to care for that we're introducing or creating new varieties, new colors. And so Eastern redbud is the one that's famous in the Midwest, East Coast. They're cousins. And then we're coming up with Oklahoma redwood, very bright pink. We've got a Merlot, which has red foliage instead of green foliage. The flower is the same, pink, bright pink, but the foliage is now purple. Same heart shape, same size, same hardiness, but purple. We've got one called Flamethrower. It's gold. Comes out gold, and then it has red tinges to it. It looks like a flamethrower coming out. It's very cool. Same bright flower, same size leaf, same hardiness. So now's your best chance to pick all these different varieties, and they're all companions with each other. So there's a few more I could go with. What else is companion with this? Pansies, peonies, rosemary starts to bloom now. So those are all the companions of March you can plant in your yard and have a stunning yard. But I'll be right back after this. Watters Garden companion plants for March are Oklahoma redbud, mountain heaths, rosemary creeper, Prescott pansies, and Fanciful Forsythia.
Fanciful Forsythia is a gorgeous spring shrub that explodes with masses of solar yellow flowers, followed by shiny green leaves.
Every home should have one for sheer beauty, fall color, and gentle natural care.
Shop the brightest spring bloomers in-store or online at wattersgardencenter.com in Prescott.
And back in the studio is Lisa Watters-Lain. She comes each week and just shares her garden tips, tricks, and insider hacks that just make gardening better. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
So what you got for us this week?
So we've got more trucks coming in, more new stuff arriving, and the more we move into spring, the more exciting it gets because more stuff shows up.
It's like Christmas for gardeners.
Yeah.
Only it's spring for gardeners.
Right. So we've gotten a lot of our Forsythia and lilacs in, which are great early spring bloomers. Great time to plant those because they're still fairly dormant. Good time to get them in their new home. They wake up, they're happy, they're ready to go forward. So I definitely would encourage people who've been thinking about putting those guys in, come check us out because we have a really nice variety of lilacs and Forsythia.
Yeah, so we have the best selection really probably in the state as far as, because you're basically a lilac nut. And so you can never have too many type varieties, different colors, different sizes, repeat blooming. And let's try that one because we're in lilac country.
Right.
You know, you got a good plant. It's going to grow here.
Definitely. And it's also a really good time for those spring blooming trees. So your red buds, your crab apples, your ornamental plums, ornamental pears. Great time to be getting those into the ground as well. And you'll never find a better selection than you have right now because the trucks have come.
First pickings.
Right. And there's new red buds. There's 2 or 3 new red buds out that are really kind of cool that fit into those smaller yards or different places. So I definitely encourage people to come in and check out what's new. And if you're thinking spring color, now's the time for it. We've also getting in some really nice spring perennials. So things that bloom early.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about some of these perennials I'm talking about today is they start early and they go through the season. So it's not a one and done. They're going to continue to bloom all through the season.
You are in perennial country. This is, we've got a cool winter. So perennials need it to be cold because they need to rest underground. Most of them, not all of them, but generally they rest underground. Then they come back again from the roots and do it all over again. So you're once and done. You plant it once. If you're thinking of flower gardens, don't torture yourself. Just do perennials. It makes it so much easier. Put it in once, you're done. Just you have to think it through a little bit more because because they don't bloom quite as long as annuals. So you have a sequence. You need spring, summer, fall. You need this variety. So something is always popping up and blooming for you. That's the beauty. That's perennial flower design. That's what you're thinking. That's the hat that you put on.
Right. So some of the ones that we're getting in or have in now that are great color for right now, we've got some dianthus coming in. We have the pink. It's called Vivid Bright Lights, which is a really bright pink. And then we have American Cherry Pie, which is red.
Yeah.
So these are both continual bloomers. So they're blooming now and they're going to continue to bloom until fall. Which is really nice about them. And they're super easy to kind of deadhead them, trim them off, and you just get more blooms and more blooms and more blooms. The other nice thing about the dianthus is it is very animal resistant.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be for javelina, deer, and bunnies. So super in container, easy to grow in containers and in the ground. So this is such a versatile plant. Good sun-loving plant, likes it where it's going to get a lot of all-day sun. But just, I love the dianthus. I think it's really underutilized in a lot of our perennial beds and in our containers.
Well, it might be underutilized, but it comes by 3 names. So maybe some garden kind of trivia. So there's carnations, there's pinks, and there's dianthus. They're all 3 the same thing. So they're all they have variations. So carnations have a little bit bigger flower. Dianthus has the necks, and then pinks have the smaller ones, but they're all cousins of each other. So they grow in the same gardens. They have the same traits. They grow equally as well. They're all evergreen. They're all bloom like crazy, all bright flowers. Animals don't eat them. So if you combine all 3 of those, it might be a #1 seller.
It could
as far as, I don't know, peonies are right up there. Snapdragons are definitely up there.
Definitely.
Echinaceas, that's a big one for summer. So
summer color.
There's a lot of
so the dianthus, we got those 2 varieties right now, and then I know next week we're getting about another 3 to 4
oh my goodness
different colors. You get variegated colors, straight colors. Definitely a cool plant to check out. We're also getting a lot of our Spanish lavenders are coming
that's
in.
fun. That's a sign of spring.
The thing I love about Spanish lavenders is they start blooming early, but they also are a great pollinator plant.
Yeah.
So if in those vegetable plant area, your fruit tree areas, things where you want. Yeah. They're just really great for bringing in those pollinators. So the Spanish lavenders are different from the English lavenders, mainly in their blossom. Most of them have a thicker blossom, shorter, thicker, almost like a bumblebee. Yeah.
It looks like a bumblebee. That's a good way to describe it.
So they've come out with some new varieties. The purple medley, which I think is going to be really cool because it goes down to -10.
Oh, that's unusual.
So some of the Spanish lavenders were like, really cold would knock them out. But -10, that lavender can take it.
Even good in Flagstaff.
Right. So that's the purple medley. It also has larger blooms to it. Cool. So it's a newer one that's out. Primavera is a very heat tolerant one. There again, purple blooms, but very, very heat tolerant. So those really, really hot spots that you have, which all your lavender loves the heat.
Yeah.
Primavera holds up in those really hot spots. We're also getting the Haviland Deep Purple and the Princess. And so they're kind of...
These are all Spanish. I had no idea.
They've come out with a lot of new
those are all
Spanish
brands.
lavender.
A couple of them I've never heard of. So I want to go check those out. That's fun.
So lavenders on the whole, great for those really dry spots.
Yeah.
Those sunny spots, and they're very animal resistant.
Yeah.
So if you get a lot of animal traffic going back and forth around there, they're excellent to put into those locations. I think the easiest way to kill a lavender is probably overwater it.
No doubt.
If you're doing it in containers, especially the Spanish lavender seems to hold up really well in containers. You're just putting it in a really well-drained soil and it'll be fine. So definitely ones to try. We're also getting the Goodwin Creek, which is the old-time English lavender. That one has the long, thinner spike to it. But all of them have that wonderful smell, that aroma that comes not just from the blooms, but also it's in the leaves.
Yeah.
So, I love having a pot kind of where I'm out sitting because you can just kind of rub it and that fragrance just comes out.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be very relaxing.
I think of English lavender as like butterfly. The flowers are taller
Mm-hmm.
on longer stems, and they kind of float more in the
Yeah.
wind. They look like butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spanish looks like a bumblebee. It's shorter, stockier. Flowing, going, how is that even possible? How does that thing fly? It's so beautiful. So
Yeah.
they have the similar color flowers.
Mm-hmm.
There's different colors too.
Right. Different variations. We're also getting some salvia in. So we're getting the Salvia nervosa called Dark Matter. So it's another super animal resistant plant, great pollinator plant. And they're getting kind of blooms throughout the season. It's going to bloom. You're going to deadhead. It's going to continue to bloom again. Tough as nails.
Oh, yeah.
Loves the heat. Put it where it's hot. Animal resistant. It has a really dark purple to it. So it really shows up. Kind of the foliage is kind of a grayish green, and then that dark purple flower. So it stands
like
up really nice.
It's super deep purple. And then lavender is more like a violet. It's a lighter, not blue, but it's light, dark. It's a violet. Different color.
Yeah.
I'm such a man. God only gave me 7 crayons. I can't describe all the colors.
Right. But it's a good one to check out if you have a really tough spot that you've been trying to fill. We're also getting some Salvia gregii, the ignition purple.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So that's another really it's our first group of salvia to come in for the Salvia gregii. Purple's just really popular. It is very, very pretty, but we'll get other colors through the season as well. And then one more I want to mention. It blooms, but it's not a true bloom. But it's the rainbow ascot euphorbia.
Yeah.
So that's another great plant. Takes the heat, animal resistant. It has a real pretty. They call it a bract. The flower is actually a bract, kind of like a poinsettia. Yeah. So
exactly.
it's a light chartreuse green, very attractive.
Well, Lisa, that is super. I love euphorbias, all of them, whether it's gopher plant or rainbow ascot. Good plants for here. Lisa Watters-Lain in with her perennial picks of the week that can be planted right now here at Watters Garden Center. Be right back with more after this. Watters Garden companion plants of March are Prescott pansies, mountain heath, rosemary creeper, Fanciful Forsythia, and Oklahoma redbud.
Oklahoma redbud grows to just 16 feet tall. This local native is super easy to grow.
Vibrant red flowers cloak the branches of early spring.
Luscious heart-shaped leaves emerge with a soft pink tinge that matures to a vibrant green.
Shop the brightest blooming trees in-store or online at wattersgardencenter.com. And so there's a few spring tasks. You should feel the pressure. You should be out there in the garden getting ready for the season or taking care of those plants that have wintered over all winter and getting them ready to grow. In fact, if you go out there, you'll be finding they're already starting to grow. The sap is definitely running in plants right now. And so they're wanting to wake up. It won't take much. And so by the end of this month, it'll be full on spring. My daffodils, they'll be in bloom by this weekend. I mean, they're just going. And so a couple things you really want to focus on, the top 10 things you want to go with. You got to finish pruning. You should feel the pressure. All pruning should be completely done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And just everything from fruit trees to perennials to grasses, they should all be finished. And so you should feel that angst. You feel the anxiety. Oh, I really need to get out there and prune those roses so they bloom better this spring. I really should cut back those old mums that are just sitting there with all that brown on top. We need to get that pruned back. And so just take a lawnmower over, weed whacker, whack back those wildflowers. When you cut that back, those spent flowers, you'll find out there's already new growth. The poppies are already up. The echinaceas, they're already up. Their things are already starting. They're not blooming, but they're actively growing. There's green underneath there. So once you cut that back, it'll allow more sun to get there. They'll grow even better. So it's that time. And any kind of mulch you mounded over, protected, got your roses or your flowers, kind of pull that stuff back. Make sure there's no debris or mulch or leaves or wood chips touching your trees. You want that, the trunk area. Pull that back so that air gets around there. And so you'll get better. Everything starts growing now, including bugs and including disease things like there's a bacteria that eats the crown or the bark area where it touches the actual bark, where it touches the roots. Well, you just kind of open that up and it breathes, makes it all better. Your evergreens, trim back those evergreens. So my rainbow ascot euphorbias, this is a beautiful perennial, gets about knee high. It took it in the chin with that last snow. Oh, they got laying over. My the other one, gopher plant. It's a famous evergreen euphorbia. It's a native-y thing here. The rumor is gophers won't eat it. Actually, the rumor is you put one in the yard, it keeps gophers away. That's not the way it works. The gophers won't eat that one plant, but they don't seem to repel things. But if they look a little off, they've been damaged, now's the time. Trim, clean, get things going. Prune back those roses. Cut them back so you've got 3 to 5 stems about knee high that are all vibrant green. They will take off with new growth. Get done pruning those apple trees, the peaches. Trim those things back so the air flows in the middle. The number 2 things you can do that make the most difference in any garden in March is fertilize everything in the yard. Every single thing needs food. And I'm not talking about that cheesy stuff in a box, Miracle Grow. I'm talking about real deep steak and potato kind of plant foods. So we make an organic here. It's called 744 all-purpose plant food. Something I put together years ago for my own gardens. I just figured out how to package it for your gardens. It's pelletized, spreads easily. It smells kind of earthy because it is earthy. Man, does that work. It just brings out the color, has green, deep, rich greens on your maple trees. It'll get you more growth on those aspens. It'll make your pine trees, your pinyon pines just look tropical. Fertilize everything in the yard. Perennials, grass, evergreens, shade trees, fruit trees. Everything in the yard needs food in March. It's important. That's what's going to encourage them to grow. And then second, make sure, for the love of gardening, the worst possible chore of any garden is weeding. I hate weeding. Oh, it's laborious. We were kicked out of the Garden of Eden and we were assigned to weed. That's just wrong in so many ways. Weed and grass stopper. There's a granular. While you got that hand spreader fertilizing all the plants out there, put weed and grass stopper over that rock lawn, around your flower beds, or underneath your trees. It will keep the weeds. It'll knock out 95 or more % of all weeding needs. Just get it. Those 2 things will make your life easier. That's why you tuned in. Those 2 bits of advice right there will pay for the show, which is free, by the way, but glad you tuned in. Well, those are 2 things I make sure I do not miss: fertilizing, and then making sure I put the weed and grass stopper down. I put manure over my thyme lawn. I cut back my thyme lawn. So I don't have an actual grass lawn. I have an herbal thyme lawn just because I don't have to water it hardly. And I only mow it twice a year. I think only once this year. So it's super easy to care for, but it's green. But it seems to respond well with a thin layer of manure after I'm done. So I'm real generous with manure. This is your month to get a bag of deodorized manure. It's not poop in a bag. It is poop in a bag, but it doesn't react like that. It just kind of, we've got a better manure that doesn't feel gooey, gross, sticky, and disgusting. You can spread it and not feel like you got to go bathe afterwards. So get a few bags of that and spread it over your flower beds. Put it through get your vegetable beds ready. Then put some food with it. Put it over your lawns. It will be magical what happens. And so that's another thing with lawns. If you're into lawns, I know we don't have a lot of lawns out there, but there are some. Surprisingly, there's more pools and lawns than you think. There's more greenhouses. in backyards than you would think. I get to talk to all of y'all. It's kind of fun. For lawns, there's two things I do with my lawn. So one, I fertilize it in March right now with all-purpose plant food. That 744, the main ingredient is bird guano. Man, grass loves bird poop. Oh my gosh, spread that on there and it will be green within 2 weeks. Whew, you better make sure the mower is ready. It will green it up like now. And then every other month, I'm switching off 2 products back and forth each month. So I start the season with the 744 all-purpose plant food. The next month I put on humic, Humick, humic acid. It's granular as well. It's spread like a fertilizer, but what it does, it feeds the soil. So the bacteria in the soil, the things that eat the matted area underneath the grass, that dead matted area, it takes out that, creates a deeper root on your grass, gets rid of the matting area. And so you never have to aerate this thing again. You won't have to dethatch it again because you're feeding it with regular food. The grass you're feeding with the all-purpose. You're feeding the bacteria that eats the thatch. And every month you switch that off. So first month start in March with the all-purpose, then switch it off. And by the time you get to October, basically, it's when you kind of shut down things. Maybe it's November. And pretty much you'll have a grass lawn that doesn't have weeds, doesn't need to be thatched, doesn't need to be aerated. And weeds, they are not going to compete. The grass is going to be so healthy. There's no weed that could even get in there. It's a game changer. And that just really makes a difference. So that's a bit of advice I can give you that'll save you a couple. Never have to thatch again. Thatching's a pain. Aerating's worse. And you got those little nuggets all over the ground that you're tripping over for the next month and a half. You won't have to do that. So humic and all-purpose plant foods, start with the food in March. Then once a month, just rotate them through October. You will have a magical grass experience that's greener than your neighbors. They'll be envious. Going, where'd you hear? I tuned into this crazy guy on the radio. He told me how to do this. Go down to Watters Garden Center. They got all the stuff. To you ladies, that's a total insult. I should have done that in a female voice. I'm just not very good with that. Anyway, I shouldn't go into voice on the radio. Having too much fun. Anyway, if you didn't catch that, come talk to me. It just makes a difference. Okay, we got one more segment coming up. More garden advice right after this. Watters Garden Companion plants of March are Oklahoma Redbud, Prescott Pansy, Rosemary Creeper, Fanciful Forsythia, and Mountain Heath.
Mountain Heath is an impressive bloomer that is covered with flowers right now.
Animal resistant with fragrance all pollinators adore.
A knee-high evergreen is super easy to care for in the ground or containers.
Shop the brightest mountain bloomers in-store or online at wattersgardencenter.com. The gardeners are here in force. The weather's just been so beautiful. But I'm surprised there's large landscapings or plantings going on, which is kind of exciting. It's always fun to help folks figure out that whole front bed or screening off that neighbor or softening up that huge fence line. It's energetic. We're now starting to see the first of the flowers showing up. So at least not the summer varieties, but many, many, many of all the spring. So right now you need plants that love the bright sunshine, that can take some heat, but if it frosts, they can take that too. I mean, we're probably not going to see a freeze right now. We can see snow, but snow isn't really cold. A freeze is mid-20s or lower. I don't think we're done with that, but we'll get some frost. You'll need some plants that can deal with that. So it's too early for tomatoes and that kind of thing. It is the most beautiful time to plant trees. Whether it's an evergreen tree, a blooming tree, a fruiting tree, trees, and big shrubs, plants that have large root mass. So it's good to get those in now so the roots have time to form as much as possible before the heat of June hits. June is the hardest month to grow things. So the more months you can back up before the hottest month, the better off you are, the more roots you will have. And then July comes, the monsoons start, and all the pressure is off. So June is the one. So now is your time before they leaf out, before they get going. So as plants flower and as plants put new foliage on, underneath the ground, they're doing exactly the same thing. They almost mirror the growth you have going on up here goes on underneath the ground. That's why if you can put them in while they're still dormant or coming out of dormancy, that's just a sweet spot for easy care, hardier trees, deeper roots. That's why we have partnered, I'm proud to announce this week we started with the Daily Courier. I've been their garden writer for over 20 years, maybe longer than that. It's a long time. And we've just always worked well together and respect each other. And they just do such good work at reporting news and let us know what's going on here in our town. And every city needs a strong newspaper. We just need that. I mean, if nothing else, to record an obituary page, but we need that. But they're strong believers in sustainability and balance and organics. And so we partnered together and what we're hosting is 250 trees planted for America's 250th anniversary birthday celebration by Arbor Day, which is April 24th. So we're partnering together to promote and try to get trees planted at schools, you folks planting them in your backyard, but we want to plant 250 trees in this region by April 24th in celebration of America's 250th anniversary. And I've got a medallion being made. It's en route now. So we're going to have a pickup day, April 24th, which is Arbor Day. And every tree owner that bought a tree will have a medallion to hang on. It says America 250th, celebrating 250 trees. Prescott, Arizona. It's got the whole thing. It's really cute. It's kind of overkill, but it's a celebration. You can take a look and pre-order your tree. So the pickup day is in a few weeks. We've got desert willows, the pink flowering purple leaf plum, the one you see pink right now all around town. That's available. Some vitex or chased trees. There's several on that page. You can order the one you like, the size you like. Pickup will be on the 24th, and everyone gets a medallion, which is kind of fun. So take a look at that on our website, wattersgardencenter.com. And right at the front, you look at the shop button and just go shop, and it's right there. It's one of the first things you'll see. Look at the Living Legacy, 250 trees for America's 250th. We are proud to partner with the Daily Courier. And let's plant more trees in the region. It's healthy for all of us. Throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Watters Garden Center. And we love talking to fans of the show. For a more fruitful garden, increase success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.